The night was unusually quiet in the gated community, the kind of silence that seemed almost suspicious, as though the air itself was holding its breath for something catastrophic to unfold. Sarah clutched her swollen belly as she walked slowly up the path to her own front door, her husband's voice faintly drifting through the walls. For a moment, her heart softened. She thought he was on a late-night business call again. But then came the sound of laughter. A woman's laughter. It was soft, intimate, and too familiar to mistake. Sarah froze, every nerve in her body trembling. She knew that laugh. It belonged to Emily, the neighbor, the one who always waved too cheerfully, lingered too long at the mailbox, and pretended innocence with her doe-eyed smile. Sarah's chest tightened as she turned the doorknob, stepping into the house that once felt like a sanctuary but now radiated with betrayal. Before we dive deeper into this heartbreaking and dramatic story, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the strength of the human spirit, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Royal Stories for more emotional journeys that touch the soul. Your support keeps these stories alive. Inside the mansion, the world Sarah had built crumbled before her eyes. Her billionaire husband, David, polished, powerful, adored by the public, was standing in the living room, his hands tangled in Emily's hair, his lips pressed against hers. The scene seared itself into Sarah's memory like fire, each detail carving a scar deeper into her already fragile heart. She could barely process the betrayal when she noticed movement across the street. From the upstairs window of another house, the HOA President, Mrs. Callahan, stood with her phone raised, recording everything. Sarah's humiliation wasn't just private, it was about to be paraded for everyone in their pristine neighborhood to see. The perfect image of the billionaire family would shatter in seconds, not because of Sarah's doing, but because truth had a way of finding its own spotlight. Her knees nearly gave out, but Sarah clung to the wall for support. Her baby kicked within her, as if reminding her that she couldn't collapse, not now. Pain and anger fused together, fueling her determination not to break in front of them. Without a word, she turned, her tears blurring the staircase as she made her way up to their bedroom. Every step felt like walking through shards of glass, but she held her head high, knowing she had already lost something she could never get back: trust. That night, Sarah sat in the nursery, surrounded by soft pastel walls and neatly folded baby clothes. She pressed her hand against her belly, whispering to her unborn child, promising protection, promising a better life even if it meant walking away from the world she had known. Her mind replayed the years of sacrifices she had made, leaving her own promising career, enduring endless charity galas to support David's image, forgiving the small lies she always convinced herself were harmless. And now, this betrayal, not with a stranger, but with a neighbor who smiled in her face. The next morning, the video had already spread like wildfire across the neighborhood group chats. Mrs. Callahan, stern and meticulous, had sent it to protect the community from moral decay, as she claimed. David's phone buzzed non-stop with calls from business partners, board members, and journalists. His empire, once untouchable, trembled under the weight of his scandal. For Sarah, it was surreal to see her heartbreak turned into gossip, her pain dissected over morning coffees by strangers who would never understand the depth of what she endured. But instead of shrinking into shame, something inside Sarah began to shift. She realized she wasn't powerless, not anymore. She had carried the weight of David's reputation on her back for too long, silencing her own dreams to keep up appearances. Now, the facade was broken, and she no longer had to play the part of the dutiful, forgiving wife. She started reaching out to her old contacts in the nonprofit world, rekindling her passion for helping underprivileged children. She poured her hurt into action, transforming her grief into a cause greater than herself. David begged for forgiveness, of course. Billionaires were skilled in damage control, but Sarah could see through his tears and rehearsed apologies. He was afraid of losing her, not out of love, but out of fear of what her absence, and independence, meant for his carefully curated image. Emily disappeared, her once friendly waves replaced with the shame of being the neighborhood pariah, but it no longer mattered. Sarah's focus was no longer on revenge or humiliation. It was on healing. Months later, Sarah gave birth to a healthy baby girl. The moment she held her daughter in her arms, she felt a surge of strength unlike anything she had ever known. The cries of her newborn were like music, washing away the echoes of betrayal. She realized she had survived the kind of heartbreak that could have destroyed her, but instead it had rebuilt her into someone stronger, braver, and freer than before. David's empire eventually crumbled piece by piece. Scandals had a way of attracting more scandals, and with every leaked email, every whispered story, his pristine reputation darkened further. But Sarah thrived. She became a voice for women who had been silenced by betrayal, for mothers abandoned yet unbroken. She built a foundation in her daughter's name, raising awareness and funds for those in need, creating a legacy far greater than the cold marble mansions she had once walked through with empty smiles. And though the world still gossiped, Sarah no longer cared. Her daughter's laughter filled her home, and her own heart beat steady with the knowledge that she had chosen courage over compromise. She hadn't just survived, she had risen. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Royal Stories. Your engagement is what keeps these powerful journeys alive, reminding us all that strength often comes from the deepest wounds. Sparkle's special request. In the comments, share your thoughts. What would you have done if you were in Sarah's place?